Cooper Patagna here alongside 24/7 Sports Director of Scouting Andrew Ivins, live from the Elite 11 Finals here in Los Angeles. Drew, we just wrapped up day 2 of the Elite 11 Finals. We had the Panini Accuracy Challenge. We had the Vices Pro Day as well. A lot of eyes on the Pro Day as you and I, Greg Biggins, keeping score throughout the evening. The top 3 guys at the board yesterday, Tavian St. Clair was the alpha dog. You had guys like Keelan Russell challenging, Hassan Longstreet as well. We kind of look back at the scorecard. Not a lot has changed. Those 3 guys have kind of been in the lead, kind of separated themselves from everybody else. What do you think about what they have done to establish themselves atop of the board?
Just consistent from start to finish. I mean, they are the ones everyone else is chasing. We scored them all with 41 on the Pro Day. That Pro Day, 8 minutes, 20 scripted throws to moving targets. They have some wide receivers out here. I thought they all looked the part. Tavian St. Clair, he ended up winning the accuracy challenge, which the Elite 11 staff scored, had the highest mark out of anyone there, 8 stationary targets. I think he's been the dude, and in the hotel lobby, just kind of talking with some of the Elite 11 staff, that's the name that keeps coming up. Tavian St. Clair, Tavian St. Clair, Tavian St. Clair. He was great. For us, I don't think any change. He's number 1 heading into day 3. Right behind him, though, Keelan Russell. And you said it, Hassan Longstreet. Hassan dealing with a bit of an injury in the foot. He was kind of hobbling around, posted a really good Pro Day. I mean, the arm pops. His ability to get it to the 3rd level, I thought, with some touch, that stood out today. And then just the RPMs. I think he's a perfect fit for what Texas A&M wants to do with Mike Elko there, Colin Klein. He's a twitchy athlete. You see him in the stretch line. He's just built different than everyone else.
Is it fair to say, kind of looking back at the top 3, we talked a lot about those guys over the last 2 days, but the one guy who made the most money today, Notre Dame quarterback commit Deuce Knight, had himself a big night?
I got the most excited about him going through that scripted Pro Day. I turn to you, how he covers ground in the pocket. They're doing 3-step drops, 5-step drops, 7-step drops. There's some hitches in there. He moves fast, and then it's a left-handed football. I don't know. It just comes out a little bit different. It's pretty to look at. Cuts right through the air. He can attack the numbers. He can attack the hashes. We were scoring at 3-2-1, so 3's perfect, 2 is good, and 1's a catchable football. Deuce had a few trays out there tonight. He looked really good. Someone excited to see the story with him. He's a streaky passer, right? Can he put it together for multiple days? We saw it at the Overtime OT7 event. I think that was the best 3 days of his offseason. So far, so good. All right, night 1, much better. Night 2, let's see what he looks like day 3.
I think he's starting to kind of shed that reputation, the body of work of what he's done over the offseason. The biggest thing that I was kind of thinking to myself for Deuce Knight is we got to see it on the field, and that's good. I mean, a guy that the completion rate you want a little bit higher, obviously played at Lipscomb Academy last year before transferring back to the state of Mississippi. It's going to be a big senior evaluation. The good thing is Deuce Knight has the wind at his back. This experience for him going to prove vital heading into his senior year. Drew, let's talk about another guy very highly regarded, Julian Lewis. We thought he was going to really excel in this format, and he did. I think he had the highest score out of all the quarterbacks in the Pro Day Challenge. What did you like about the USC commit?
Yeah, the Elite 11 staff, they scored it on their own, so if you want to get a composite rankings going, he was number 1, and he also was really good for them when it came to that accuracy challenge. It kind of a one-speed ball at times, but he's a touch passer. He's accurate. I call him a point guard back there. He's built to play from the pocket. You can move him around a little bit. He handled those drops. This is a kid that's been training to be a quarterback since he was 8 years old. I'm not surprised he came out here and shined. And he really needed to, I think, bounce back after night 1. He isn't the biggest individual. You mentioned it, big athletic group out here. He's got to be able to beat you from the pocket. Julian Lewis, I thought he showed us he could do that tonight.
Let's talk about 2 guys that I think you would have put in that category of rock solid. 1, Ryan Montgomery, committed to Georgia, really good tonight, especially in the Pro Day Challenge. And the other one, Tramell Jones to Florida State. I'll kind of give you the floor here, but 2 guys that the more you see, the more we kind of fall in love with the floor. We know they're going to bring a certain skill set to the table. What did you see from them tonight that gets you excited about what they can be at the next level?
The accuracy. I mean, I don't want to use that word again. I mean, Tramell Jones is someone we've had just so much exposure to at Jacksonville Mandarin High School. I mean, I remember him as a freshman throwing at Florida. I was at his spring game, was at 2 of his games this past fall. I'm starting to he's growing on me, right? He's just a high 3-star for us. Is the conversation there? Should he be a 4-star prospect? You know, he kind of reminds me of former Florida quarterback Chris Leak, who won a national title there in Gainesville. I know Florida State fans are probably going to be pissed about that player comparison, comparing him to a rival, but I thought it was a solid showing for him. Ryan Montgomery, to me, you saw it in the pro day, better athlete than you think, right? A guy that off the hoof, you don't know he has that type of athletic juice, but he can move around. He can distribute on the run. Solid 2 days for Ryan Montgomery, and another one where that fit there in Georgia, what they want to do on offense. I don't know if they could have done better in this cycle.
Well, I love that word, the F word, fit, right? We talk about it all the time. And another guy that kind of stood out for me tonight, both of us as well, Luke Nickel from Georgia, a guy that just won a state championship. And you think about the fit in Shannon Dawson's offense and Mario Cristobal in Miami. Drew, I think tonight was kind of a, hey, I'm here type of moment, guy that we didn't have listed in the top 11 last night, but kind of knocking right there on the door. He did some good things tonight.
He's another one that's dealing with an injury. You know, more of a touch passer, but he got it to the second and third levels. We saw that during the pro day. Snappy in the upper half. I didn't know he kind of had that twitch up there. I thought he did some really good things, and you're right, Miami, what they want to do under Shannon Dawson, they want to run the football, but they also want to get it to those wide receivers that they've been recruiting. I think Luke Nickel can do just that.
Let's talk about Malik Washington, right? 24/7 Sports Crystal Ball right now with Maryland, and this is a guy from that area in the DMV. Drew, I didn't know what to expect. Big athlete, guy that can do a lot on the run. He really kind of surprised me tonight, what he could do from the pocket. Sure, he's very comfortable on the move, but a big, strong arm, and obviously everything is left ahead of him, right, just in terms of that development. I mean, what do you think this guy can be at the next level?
Oh, I think he could be a program changer for Maryland if Mike Loxley's able to get him. You know, his recruitment's been interesting to follow. A ton of different schools have kicked the tires. He's been on some official visits, some unofficial visits. I think Maryland, you know, Mike Loxley, he always gets one guy from the DMV. This is someone that they can build around. You said it, the arm strength, RPMs are there, and he's also a really dynamic athlete. You know, you could say that about a lot of these guys in the group. Not many of them are competing in dunk contests. I think he's got, what does he call it, an East Bay. He goes between the legs. Solid showing from Malik Washington. Someone you want to bet on long term just because of those traits.
The good thing for us is we get to see 20 of the best quarterback prospects in the country. Not all these guys are rated the same. We obviously know that. But you look at a guy like Bryce Baker. He's a pretty intriguing cat. He's put together very solid 2 days of work here. And he's kind of got the athletic profile to go with it as well. What do you think North Carolina's getting in him?
Muscled up individual. You know, I think he's someone that is tailor-made for an RPO system, right? A guy that, you know, he can be a point guard, high-volume passer, but he can also keep a defense honest with his legs. You know, really strong 2 days for him. You know, North Carolina, it's been, okay, what's the plan post Drake May? They've been living in the transfer portal. I think Bryce Baker, if you're a North Carolina fan, you need to get excited about him potentially being the guy a year or two after campus. He's someone that could win in the ACC. That's what they needed to do from the high school ranks. Yeah, you can get the big transfers, but you want to get some guys, some homegrown talent. I think Bryce Baker is just that.
Heading into the final and third day tomorrow, the 7-on-7 portion of the event. We talked about the big three at the top, but just your final thoughts as the Elite 11 comes to a close tomorrow.
Tavian St. Clair versus Keelan Russell. Those are the kind of the 1-2 for me. You know, Husan Longstreet, you mentioned it. He's dealing with the injury, all taped up in the lower half. He's a guy that's played 7-on-7 in the past. I think he has a chance to rise in the rankings. Then what does Deuce Knight do? We talked a lot about him a few minutes ago. You know, someone he continue to stack those days, and I think there's going to be maybe another surprise or two out there. They're going to get 15 minutes. Everyone's going to be working with the same wide receivers. We'll see if someone can separate themselves from the rest of the pack.
One more day, the Elite 11 MVP yet to be decided. Make sure to stay locked into 247sports.com to see who that guy will be. For Andrew Ivins, I'm Cooper Patagna. See you tomorrow.